Hi there, I'm John Marston. I'm a cowboy. Today I'm here to show you who we are and what our lives mainly consist of. So let's get right into it. This little settlement that I'm in is called a cow town. A cow town is basically a small settlement that caters to the cattle industry. And us cowboys are the people who work in that industry. The communities in these cow towns are very dependent on the cattle drive. And us cowboys, we're the ones who do the cattle drive. And I'll explain that later. All the houses that you see on a cow town are likely not to stay here forever. You see, these cow towns were set up really quickly by people working on the Transcontinental Railway. And the towns were set up right next to the railway so that the cows could be transported immediately to big cities. Over here we have the ranch. Here we maintain the well-being of our cattle so that they're ready for the cattle drive. At the ranch we like to brand our cows so that other people won't steal them. By branding, I mean putting a physical mark on our cows to show that they are ours, so if anyone steals them, we can just say that they're ours. We also like to keep our cattle here healthy because they do need to be eaten, and eating an unhealthy cow isn't actually very nice, especially if it's just travelled 1,000 miles to get onto your dinner plate. Our sole purpose as cattlemen is to carry out the long cattle drive. A cattle drive is basically the process of moving a large herd of cattle from one place to another. Our job as cowboys is to round up the cattle and then move them to the cow towns. And then at the cow towns we can ship them on the train, and then off they go onto your dinner plate. On these cattle drives there's usually quite a few cowboys working to keep the herd moving, and they all have different jobs and responsibilities. The first one is called the trail boss. This guy is the person who's in charge of the cattle drive. Next there's the chuck wagon, who acts as the cook. He's the one who provides the food for us, and is generally somewhat larger than the rest of us. The next guy is called Point. He keeps lookout and turns the herd in the right direction. Then there's Swing. He usually just rides alongside the cattle and makes sure they don't escape and kill us. The next man is the Drag. The Drag is the guy who chases up what we call stragglers. Stragglers are basically just cows that have escaped. And finally we've got the Lightweight, the Wrangler. The Wrangler's just the kid who likes to look after the horses. But what about when we're not transporting cattle? Well, we like to spend a lot of our time using our money wisely. Gambling and drinking are examples of common activities in cow towns, but don't expect to come out of here without a fight. Gambling is something we like to do a lot, because the money that we earn can be used to earn even more money through gambling. But then of course, we don't always get money back. Well, at least I don't. And then of course there's drinking, which pairs up quite well with gambling. And when we don't get what we want and lose a tiny bit more money than we expected, we usually get into a little bit of a squabble. Give me my money! Which then slowly escalates and turns into a full-scale invasion of the cow town. But with the wide open landscape that crosses over thousands and thousands of miles, it's actually quite easy to escape, move on to the next town, and they won't even recognize you killed thousands of people. Made a slight mistake. This over here is what we call a saloon. They basically just sell beer, alcohol, whiskey, etc. And this is usually where all the fights go down. So there you go. Overall, life as a cowboy really isn't all that bad. Well, that's if you survive.